Hey class, this is Jim. I am going to talk to you about OneNote. OneNote is a Microsoft product that we're going to use in this class for multiple things. We are going to use it primarily for worksheets. And if we look at our schedule, we see that we're going to have a worksheet due every week, Monday by midnight. The worksheets are meant to give you practice with written math. The biggest problem in online math courses is that you do most of your math through services like MyLab Math, and you're pointing and clicking and you're not writing as much math as you need to in order to be successful on written exams. So what I am doing, instead of having like a required discussion post or something, I'm doing these worksheets instead. And so what I'll do is grade your work weekly so that that'll give you some insight into how I'm going to grade your exams, and it will I'll try to sort of point you in the right direction when you're doing things that you're going to lose points for on the exam. So this is OneNote. Again, it's a Microsoft product. You all have access to it. It should be on your computers already through Office, Office 365. And excuse me. And here's the layout of OneNote. So here's a file here, or a little folder. It's a welcome folder, and it's got the schedule. Most important document in the semester is the schedule. We're going to stick to this schedule. It tells you everything you need to do by the week. This is an exam formula sheet. This is available on all exams. There's no note cards, but there is this exam formula sheet. Not every formula is going to be used for every exam. So you will look at this formula sheet and you'll use what you can for a particular exam. For example, the very first exam does not have Demois' theorem on it. It doesn't have half-angle identities. So you'll use the stuff that is pertinent to exam 1. And similarly for exam 2 and the final exam. So this welcome folder, I'll put important documents here. Notice at the bottom of the schedule I have important dates. We've got the refund date, we've got the withdraw date, and I've got kind of the summary of how your grades are going to be calculated for the semester. So the next part of OneNote is you see these arrows. So these are section groups, and this section group called the content library is basically the course content. So introductions. If you click on this link, it will open a Padlet, and you can double click on the background and you can tell us a little something about yourself so that we can get to know each other. You can put a photo or a video, whatever you want. Next one, how-to videos. So these are the videos that I've created on how to manage, how to navigate D2L, how to navigate MyLab Math, how to navigate OneNote, etc. So any sort of instructional video I will drop in here. Next section, handouts. So these are important handouts for the semester. There's our schedule for the semester again. It's also under welcome. Here's the syllabus for the semester. The syllabus these days is kind of an onerous, long document. It's a good idea to read it and skim through it and ask questions if you have any. But again, the most important document is the schedule. This tells you what's due when. And then again, the formula sheet is here also. So I've got that in a couple of places under this welcome folder plus here just because it's so important. We're in trig. One of the most important trig concepts is the unit circle. So I've got some blank unit circles here. This is a 12-sector circle. That's an 8-sector circle broken into 8 sectors. And the important thing on a unit circle is knowing the coordinates of each point on the unit circle and what the rotated angle is. We rotate counterclockwise from the positive x-axis. This would be 45 degrees, or when we get into radians, we will call that pi divided by 4 radians. Here's a completed 8-sector. Here's a completed 12-sector. So it's going to be super important for you to get all these coordinates memorized and for you to get all these angles memorized. So when I ask you to draw a unit circle, it means both the coordinates and the angles. Both things are important. Next part, video examples of content. So these are examples I've created for different problems that you will encounter. So graphing is a big part of this course. So here's an example of graphing a sine, a cosine, a secant, a cosecant, a tangent, etc. So anytime if you feel like you need more instruction, more video, like a video example of something, I can create that for you. Just have to ask. Written exam information, we're going to be doing 3 exams, exam 1, exam 2, and the final. So for each exam, I've got grading guidelines, which I've also got embedded within each of these descriptions for each of the separate exams. But for exam 1, here's the study guide. Here's the study guide answer key. Again, the grading guidelines. And then once the exam is done, I'll put a copy of it here, and I'll put a copy of the key here. Similarly for exam 2, study guide, answer key, guidelines. After exam 2 is completed, I will put a copy of the exam here and a copy of the key here. And then for the final, it's a little different. You'll have a study guide and a study guide answer key. I'm not going to reveal the final exam key, though. We try to keep the final private. So then the next folder over here, math centers. Each of our campuses has a walk-in math center. We also have an online math center. And if you click on any of these links, they may not be totally updated yet because it's before the semester starts at this moment. So when you click on that, that's going to give you some insight into who's available when the math center is open at your particular campus or what have you. Now, this isn't complete yet, because I haven't added you to OneNote. I'm waiting to the last minute to add you to OneNote. When I add you to OneNote, I am going to see a list of all of you folks right here. And that is how you are going to turn in your worksheets. That's how I'm going to grade your worksheets. It's also how I'm going to return your graded exams. So when you open OneNote, you will see a separate one of these little drop-down sections. And that's going to be your private area that you can that only you and I can see. And so that's where you're going to put your worksheets. That's where you're going to see your graded exams as well. So these worksheets, I've broken them into 3 units. The stuff for exam 1, the stuff for exam 2, the stuff for the final. And here's what the worksheets are going to look like. You're going to have a concept page. This is me giving you a brief overview of the content that I think is most important for the week. I will give you video examples of things. And then after you read the concept page, you come to the questions page. So this week 1, we have 4 questions. I've got 3 things that are more technology based for this week. Insert. It's really important to be able to capture images and insert them. So that's the first thing here. It's important to be able to use Desmos for graphing or computation. So that's what I've got there. And then it's also important to be able to use an equation editor, whether it's in OneNote, whether it's in D2L, whether it's in Word, whatever. It doesn't matter. There's lots of equation editors. And then here's one sort of content question only. Subsequent, and then I'll release the key after I grade them. These are due Monday night at midnight. On Tuesday morning when I wake up, I'm going to lock the worksheets. You cannot turn the worksheets in late. The idea of the worksheet is that I'm giving you prompt feedback on your written work. So I will get them graded on Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest, depending on what's happening during the week. So these cannot be turned in late. You've got to get them in Monday at midnight. Homework and quizzes, I can extend deadlines really easily. That's no big deal. But it's not fair for me to extend a deadline for a worksheet because I reveal the answer key immediately. And I can't hold back on giving people their work back. So worksheets should be one of the first things you do so that you get them all in because they can't be turned in late. Homework and quizzes, there's a lot of flexibility with if you have stuff going on. So the layout again, concept, quizzes, and then I'll release the key. So week 2 is more of a standard week. So let's look at that. So here's your concept page, instructions, sort of overview. And then this week there's only 2 questions, and I don't know why these are looking so wonky here. That is strange. Very strange. Okay. Not sure how. I'll try to get that there a little bit more better spaced. Okay, so then so on Monday night they're due. Tuesday morning I lock them, I grade them, and then I release the next week. So your subsequent week should always be released on Tuesday unless there's something funky that happens and I might not be able to release it till Wednesday. But that's the pattern. Concept, questions, and then the key will be released on Tuesday morning, and then the next week will be released. And this one has 3 questions in it. So concepts and then questions, and then this one has 3 questions. Week 3, question 1, question 2, question 3, and then the key, question 1, question 2, question 3. So the key is really important. So when I take off points, I'll try to indicate why I've taken off points, but then you want to look at the key. This is the work that I expect. On an exam, when you see this question that says, what it says right there, says find the 6 trigonometric function values, this is the work I expect you to see. You've got to be able to find whatever you need to find, and then so there's got to be some work. You need to justify your work. You cannot just write down answers and get full credit. You need to justify your work. And so that pattern persists. When you submit your written exams, you've already seen that those are going to get submitted in D2L to the assignment tool. So if you're taking it from home, you are going to scan your work and upload a 5 megabyte at max PDF file. I will then pull it into OneNote, grade it, and in your little private section, I will release that graded exam to you. So that will give you feedback on how you lost points. And now let's talk about the logistics of OneNote in terms of getting to your notebook for this class. So tonight, it's actually Sunday right now, I will be adding you all to this notebook, and you will get an email in your CCCS email inbox. All right, not D2L, not my courses, in your CCCS email, your student email. There will be a link in there. Now, if you are not seeing this email, go to the search in your Outlook account and type SharePoint, SharePoint. The email is going to come from SharePoint. Everyone is getting the email. As soon as I add you to the class, the email is going to that address. Sometimes Microsoft Outlook hides emails with these focused inboxes that they have, and you may not see it in your regular inbox or whatever. So if you don't see it, go to the search bar, type in SharePoint, and it should pop up. So in that email, you're going to click on the link to the notebook. It will open it up in a web browser. Web browser is no good. You want to have the full desktop app. And so when you're looking at the OneNote through a web browser, up in the top right, there's going to be a drop-down menu. And when you click on that drop-down menu, you are going to see an option that says Open in Desktop App. As soon as you've opened it in the desktop app a single time, you never have to go back to the email, never have to go back to the link. When you open OneNote, so the software OneNote, when you open it, your notebook will be there. If you have any trouble, let me know. It works pretty seamlessly. OneNote can be a little bit finicky with syncing, so it's always best to be doing it when you have a good internet connection and things like that. So get the email, click the link. When it opens in a browser, then choose the option to open it in the desktop app. And then you'll see it here. So for example, when I click on this menu, this drop-down, I see all the notebooks that I have. So everybody has a default notebook from the system office, and then you will end up with this notebook in your desktop app. So again, you always want to be in the desktop app. It's a lot easier to manage. Now, in terms of turning in your homework, you can use digital ink in here. Digital ink's a little bit of a pain, though, because the ink doesn't float with the text that's in here unless you're clever and you take a screenshot of it and you paste it so that it's an image and it's an image of the ink and it's not just the ink. If you just start writing in here and then you hit return to make more space, the ink doesn't move with the letters. Pictures move. So if I start hitting return in here, the pictures will move, but ink won't move. And so that's a little messy. And so what I recommend is doing it again. So what I recommend is paper pencil, upload the image of your entire page of work to your computer, and then use the Windows snipping tool to snip each piece, and then you can just paste it right in to each of the different locations. think that's probably the easiest way to do this. Using the digital ink can be a little complicated, so that is my recommendation.